Bonjour.
I'm a big believer, like people always go, I bet you could change it. And I'm kind of like, I wouldn't really change anything I've done in my life. You know, I've had the bad things are your bumps in the road, but what about if you didn't have those bad things and you ended up on a different road? Like if you're happy where you are, you know, you have some really, we all have shit, don't we? Like life is a fucking roller coaster. I wouldn't change that. You know, I wouldn't. It's got me to kind of where I am.
Hello everyone, welcome back. This is Breaking Bread, the Birmingham Food Podcast, presented by Food Obsessed Brummies, Liam and Carl. I'm Liam.
Hello, I'm Carl. You always look at me really anxious when I'm going to introduce. Like I'm just going to go, fucking Carl!
I'm waiting for you to jump in. I'm like on the edge of my seat. They're like in Alf where he's doing the jack-in-boxes.
Yeah, he's winding it.
Yeah, and he's waiting for it.
I am told I have a jack-in-a-box effect.
Keeping good.
Yeah, I'm good. You?
Yeah.
Laughing,
You have a set like, that thing in your voice that says, "You know I'm good." You asked me 2 minutes ago when we recorded the last intro.
Recorded another intro, of course. We've done all this. We forget that this is the first time you're hearing this.
Yeah.
You're ruining the magic about the podcast.
Breaking down the fourth wall here and just letting you like going all
yeah, we don't
letting down the kayfabe.
We don't do the intros.
We're supposed to be in character all the time, like WWF.
I thought this podcast would be good.
Yeah.
And then we recorded it. And when we both walked away, just like, fuck, that was a good podcast.
Yeah, it was good. It's one of my faves as well. Like,
yeah, definitely.
really
This
good.
is easily one of the top ones we've done.
So before I tell you who it is and all that, let's talk about where we've been eating. And you're always championing Shirley, man. I respect that.
I know, I'm plugging away. I'm just in the hope that it'll get better.
One day try and change
The
it.
more I go on about it, the better it will get. I'm sure of it.
So where were you? Not that there's many pickings in Shirley, but
You know what? Shirley it's got a good sushi place. It's got Shaking Hand, which is one of the best bars in Birmingham. Hands down, some of the best beer you can drink. You know, we've got good coffee. We've got Bora.
yeah.
We've got SKVP, good street Indian food place.
Yeah.
You know, we have got good stuff. And I went to Fiesta del Asado.
I tell you what, I've never had bad food in Fiesta. I thought it was brilliant. Sometimes, I mean, understandably, the service might have been a bit short-staffed or something after COVID. And
Yeah, a lot of people have struggled with
yeah,
getting staff, and I think they did have problems with that. And it has been a bit, I'm not going to say hit and miss, but sometimes you think the service could be better. But we went on Saturday and it was fantastic.
I was going to say, we always message each other when we see we've out anyway and say, was it any good? How was it, you know? And Carl said, oh yeah, it was really good this time.
Oh, the service was brilliant. The drinks were great. The wine was nice. We take our kids there, like, because we go with the family when they come over, because it's just round the corner.
It's
and
walking
big
distance,
tables, yeah. And they're always good with the kids. The food was great. The kids' food was brilliant. Like, they had great options for them. Connie had some, like, I was a bit jealous of Connie's dinner, to be honest. I was like, oh man, that sausage and chips look banging, to be fair. And just the sides are good.
Yeah.
The steak was
What steak
fantastic.
do you have? Do you go
ribeye. I always
ribeye?
go, if I'm picking, I'm having ribeye.
I did
It's my
think
favourite
that.
one.
And I thought, well, I asked him, but then I thought, it's just going to have ribeye like I would. If you like steak, you eat ribeye, basically.
Yeah, ribeye's the best one. Medium rare, it's just so that fat melts a bit more. Because if you can't have ribeye rare. It's like the fat doesn't cook through enough.
Yeah.
You need that. You want that little bit of the actual ribeye fat to be melting when you put it in your mouth, and it was.
You want fillet and sirloin to be a bit rare, don't you? Not
If I have fillet, I want it practically moving around the plate, but
still moving.
yeah. We even had cocktails. Actually, the cocktails were really good.
Well, that's good. They don't really get mentioned for their cocktails.
I mean, if they side beer, wine, cocktails, shorts, like just everything. You know me, when I'm going out big, I go out and just
Good, man. I've got a soft spot
Hammer
for
it, man.
Fiesta.
I have, and it's good and it's nice inside. It's beautiful. Like I'm glad to see it doing well. And it was busy, which is
Good.
really nice to see as well.
Good, man. I went to Isaac's, another kind of place we have a soft spot for, mainly because we love Adam.
Yeah, Adam, man, it's
Legend.
unreal. And the food there, you know, it's probably the nicest place to sit in and just have a nice bottle of wine or Coke if you and just food and just sit there and
Lucky
eat.
Saint. I have a Lucky Saint. I love Lucky Saint. I tell you what, I recommend it more than anywhere else, I would say.
It's one of the top ones or places I tell people to go.
A lot of people
Definitely.
at work, like I work, no disrespect to them, but they're not massive into food. So when they're saying to me they want to go somewhere really nice, a little bit posh for their birthday or their wife's birthday, they don't mean O'Fame or Simpsons.
Yeah, they don't mean they want to spend
Yeah.
£500 on dinner.
So Isaac's is perfect because it's reasonably priced. The food's very good, but the surroundings, like the restaurant's stunning. Like it's wicked.
Yeah.
So it's a great place. I always recommend it. They always go. They always love it. They're all like, yeah, that was exactly what I wanted.
Yeah, not
Brilliant.
that we don't recommend OV.
I mean, yeah, we recommend all them places.
But like for the people we know that aren't into fine dining, that's sort of like the top level of.
They would
a
not
lot
be
of
interested
people.
in going. All they would focus on is how much they spent. They don't appreciate that much food was actually worth that money. But
Yeah. But yeah, Isaac's. It's just like, well, Akhtar just released a list of places through the good food.
yeah,
Of
wicked.
place in Birmingham. And I swear to God, nearly every place on there is like the places we tell people to go.
Yeah. I had the fried chicken, waffle, egg, chips, and maple syrup.
I've got to admit, I find that fair play. You like, I know we're sitting there at Isaac's. That just sounds so fucking weird.
While I
to
was
me.
pouring the maple syrup over the egg, I could see your face. I wish you could see Carl's face now. I'm mad into that kind of thing. Now. Anything sweet and really savoury, I love it. Absolutely
That's too
love
far,
it.
man. It's too far. It's not for dinner.
Yeah, so Isaac's always brilliant. We were in a bit of a rush. Didn't even get dessert, man, which is a shame.
No,
We had to get out. We were going out. Mickey
I
Flanagan.
love the steaks at Isaac's.
Yeah, I always have the steak though, or I've had the steak nearly every time we've been. So I was like, I've never had the chicken and waffles. I'm pretty sure Adam just keeps it on the menu for me
Yeah,
because he hears me
mentions it
raving
every
about it
time.
all the time, and I never have it. So I was like, I'm gonna have it Friday night. What's not to love? You know what I mean?
No.
You want something comforting. It rained all day. It was brilliant. Obviously, you've definitely seen it because it's been all over socials and everything. But Digworth Dining Club, who we have massive love for, they're going out on tour this summer.
Yeah, they're coming to Shirley twice. I can't
Shirley
wait.
twice.
I'll be there
Brilliant.
twice.
But they're going everywhere, like Reddit. They're going loads of places. The list is massive. I can't even remember it. I should have wrote a few down, but we're complete amateurs.
And the
What can you
tour's
do?
great as well because like they come to show and they put so much effort in. There's loads on for the kids.
Yeah.
There's loads of entertainment. There's loads of bars. Like,
Bringing these traders to people who wouldn't normally get to them, you know what I mean?
and they all sell out. So if you want to go, make sure you get a ticket early because I'm keeping an eye out because the one in Shirley always sells out.
Jez wants to be on the podcast. Back to today's episode.
Yeah.
The awesome Conrad from Tonic Talent. Most
Really
people
good.
would have met him, definitely. Sure, I'm sure everyone's met him.
I can't imagine there's anyone in hospitality in Birmingham that doesn't know him. And not just say know of him, like know him well. Like he just seems to know. I mean, that's his business to know everyone.
Yeah.
But he really does know
Yeah,
everybody.
great guy. Known him for years, haven't we? Since we kind of got started, really. This is a 2-for-1 episode, really, because you got like obviously the recruitment thing is what his business is, and there's some great tips for both employers and employees looking for work, trying to find stuff. There's great tips for that.
Oh
Loads
yeah,
of
if
that.
you're after a job, like this is the one, man.
We do go quite into like CVs and all that, and tips for interviews. But on the other side of that, then I think we talked for a good hour about how good Birmingham food scene is and where we
Yeah.
love to eat in Birmingham. So it's good like that. I mean, let's face it, he eats out more than most of us food bloggers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's mental. The passion for Birmingham food and Birmingham hospitality just shines through in everything he does.
There's a man that's on the same page as us, just wants Birmingham to get better and better.
Yeah,
And he's
yeah.
physically tried, like he's had his own businesses and he
Yeah.
talks about that. And it's a great podcast. It was just a great talk. It was
Yeah.
like just seeing that, like, I mean, we always talk before and after the podcast.
Yeah.
And often the good podcasts, you can't tell when we're recording or not.
Yeah. And that was exactly like that. It felt
Yeah.
like we just sat in the pub with a mate for 2 hours, like, you know.
Yeah, it's the exact vibe of what we set out with this podcast originally was just to be a conversation.
Yeah, well, both really, conversation and tips. I wanted it to be useful because obviously hospitality recruitment's a massive problem at the minute and a big issue. So I really wanted to get some real useful stuff out of him for that, and we did. But I really just wanted to talk about food as well.
Yeah, it's hard not to, isn't it?
Because he's at some wicked places as well. Loved it. And obviously the history of it has been around a little while. I'm not going to age him, but it's been around since the beginning of the kind of rise in food.
He's someone that's
Of
seen it all
Birmingham.
come
Yeah,
through when
yeah.
it's
When
safe,
he started, there was nothing really like, and then
yeah, it's safe to say there was a couple of places doing well, but from where
That
we are
was it,
now to
yeah.
where we were 10, 15 years ago, it's such a different place.
yeah. So I'd say 2012, like from 2011, 2012 onwards, that was it then. Things changed. Obviously, Digworth Dining Club, Independent Birmingham,
Yeah.
I Choose Birmingham, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, this podcast goes through it all. This is a good one. It's a long one, but it's Really worth listening to all of it.
It will fly. Honestly, it flies by.
We had no idea it was that long, did
No,
we? We checked the time and we were like, oh shit, we're going to have to wrap this up.
Yeah,
This is
we could have spent longer as well. We
Yeah,
were
it
mad.
could be a
Oh yeah,
large
warning
one.
as well. This will make you want fish and chips.
Yeah. 100%.
We were still sitting there going, I want fish and chips.
Anyone that listens to this will be like, I'm going to chippy tonight.
Yeah, awesome. So ladies and gentlemen, Conrad from Tonic Talent.
Birmingham's good as well.
Amazing,
Jesus
mate. On
Christ.
the list. Love
That
it.
just gets. I see it gets better and better.
Yeah, it's
I don't know how he
class.
improves it.
Chicken and the pork and stuff last time. Was
Oh, the pork belly.
fucking
I've got that every single time
incredible.
I've gone, and it's the best it's ever been now.
Yeah, I love it. It's a shame being getting closer to town, really, just from selfish.
Well, we live in Shirley, so it's a pain in the ass for us. That's why like Harborne's so inaccessible to us because it's fucking missions away. Because we went to Tropea. Is Tropea?
Yeah.
For the first
Oh, yeah,
time
it's the
at
first time,
Christmas.
wasn't it?
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
fucking phenomenal.
Unbelievable. Pound for pound, the best restaurant for
Yeah, I really
Pound
loved
for
it
pound.
there.
Yeah.
It's just the service, the drinks.
Yeah.
And
Soundtrack.
I love a martini, and their martini was phenomenal.
Yeah.
It was brilliant. It was
Yeah.
the World Cup, England in the World Cup, so I had the phone on as well, and they were joking and laughing about it. Some places get a bit funny about it. They were like, "Nah, keep your phone."
Yeah,
it's
good
fine,
on
you
them,
can see
man.
it."
It's the closest restaurant to our house.
Oh, you're
So
laughing.
we just walk up there like it's fucking.
Bun and barrel, any good?
Yeah, good.
Is it good?
Yeah.
I mean, whatever Jamie turns his
Don't know
head to,
about the
it's gonna be
faffy
good.
burgers,
Yeah.
really. You know, like I don't want like foie gras and fucking 30 quid worth of burger.
Nobody else does it though, do they? So it's
Yeah, and you'll get some people who just go in and be like, I want that because it's that. And if he sells 5 a week, then I don't know, I suppose he sells 5 a week and that's that really. It's just something different, isn't it, to have? But last time I had an extra patty and bacon and cheese and fucking hell, it was good.
It's all you need on a burger, isn't it?
Yeah,
really?
yeah, keep it
You don't
simple,
mess
man.
you've got to do something different to differentiate from like
Yeah.
Meat Shack and
Yeah,
ABM.
I mean, it's sort of different to them in this sort of smash patty kind of vibe that is quite popular at the moment. But yeah, no, it's good. I mean, they've done a great job of the fit out and that, and I love a pool table, as you can see. So it's nice to be able to have a game of pool and a burger. It feels pretty cool in there, man. But we could do with loads more in Harbour. I mean, I miss.
So you want to live in Shirley, mate?
No, but I
Everything
miss
good's in
King's
Harbour.
Heath, man. Upstairs by Grace and James and Polly, and they got Blowwater Calf now, and they're about to get 1-star Doner Bar. I'd swap that for everything we got in Harborne, hands down, because I think you take away really Jamie's place, and Harborne Kitchen's fine dining. You can't like where there ain't and Tropea. Like I'm like, you know,
There
they're
ain't
not-
much else.
There ain't a lot going on.
Well, I was in King's Heath Saturday and we went to Grace and James. But I do what I always do. I end up with Hare and Hounds.
Yeah,
Because I just love the boozer, proper boozer.
it is a great boozer.
And it's busy. It's always busy. There's always life in there.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. The my lockdown experiences with the doner kebabs that you used to go and pick up. Like that's when me and Joe got together, and there was something magical about being in lockdown and driving up there to get this amazing food. And they do a beverage pairing as well. And me and Joe would just go down, sit overlooking Cannon Hill Park, and eat whatever he'd done. And it was brilliant because we couldn't go to a restaurant to do dates. We just got together. But these were our, obviously I used to cook and stuff like that. But I just got such fond memories of that. And the fact that we're now getting one here, I think, you know, I mean, Brad will do super well off that.
Well, whatever he does, it's going to be good. But
Yeah.
that food should be amazing.
Yeah.
It's a great bar to have it in as well.
Yeah, fantastic. Absolutely brilliant. They've always wanted food there. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it though, because I've not been thrown up in Manchester.
No, I haven't. I really want to give it a
Joe
go.
and I were up there, but we'd got, you know, other things planned and then it shut too early. Otherwise, I was going to like, we had lunch, dinner, and I was like, come on, we can squeeze a kebab in. And Joe's like, the fuck are you on about? No, we've been for lunch and dinner. Like, me and my old man used to do that. He used to take me down London and we'd have a lunch and then a dinner. And you're just fucking so full. But not like 3 courses, like the Monty, you know. I mean, he's the person that got me into food. And you just think, it's just excessive, innit? No one needs a lunch, then a dinner of that sort of thing. Because you kind of like, the enjoyment of both diminishes because you've just had too much food, you know. You're just like, this is ridiculous, but I am a greedy motherfucker, so...
You're talking to 2 fat blokes, mate. So like we're like breakfast, lunch, and dinner, mate.
Yeah, try and work them all in, man.
So,
I'm assuming bad language is fine.
Yeah,
Of
yeah,
course.
yeah.
this isn't the BBC.
Yeah.
Okay.
It'd be a short podcast otherwise, I swear. So.
So we've already started in true podcast fashion. You've just heard Conrad from Tonic Talent. You you might as well just carry on where you just left off, where you were telling us about how you got into hospitality, mate.
Yeah, so I was always working as soon as I was old enough, part-time.
Yeah.
Within...
You were saying about your love for it with your dad.
Yeah, absolutely. The real love for it came from Dad, but I mean, part-time wise, I was kitchen porter, and we had a fantastic female head chef who was quite fit actually, and so I used to try and get like prep jobs and do bits and bobs off her. And after doing that for about 6 months, my dad, I'd sort of started showing interest in the restaurants that he used to go to.
So what was he a massive food in that? Because my other fellow won't go into no fancy places down London.
Yeah. My dad was a stockbroker. And in St Paul Square in Brums, so he really did very, very well. And if anyone from Simpsons or Pennell's is listening, he'd be in Pennell's 3 days a week and Simpsons too. Like he'd eat out every single lunchtime and just do his afternoon off his phone. So he loved it.
Basically living our dream.
Yeah, pretty much. So I mean, before that, he took me to a restaurant in London called Quaglino's. So it's a D&D restaurant. And I'd never been anywhere like that. It was beef eaters and harvesters, and don't get me wrong, I fucking love the salad bar at the Harvester. But the whole experience of it just made me go, wow, this is like a complete another level of the way that I feel when I'm in this place. You know, the whole customer journeys, beautifully presented people on the welcome desk who took your coats, and just the way you were taken down to the table. And it's quite a dazzling place. Quaglino's is very famous, a lot of glitterati there in the early years of dining and stuff. So
you're made to feel special. And you go to Beefer and that sometimes you're just a number. You kind of feel like they're waiting to finish their shift, you know.
Yeah, you do. And I think it really, really grew from there. I mean, I was very lucky to serve Sir Terence Conrad before he passed away when I was working at Malmaison. And I told him the story. I said it was a visit to one of your restaurants that got me into the industry, and he sent me he asked for my address. He sent me a signed copy of his book, and he was a real gentleman. He was a real inspiration to me, actually, and just serve. I've been very lucky to serve and look after some really cool, different people from all walks of life. But he was right up there. If you said, like, who did you love looking after and meeting, he was right up there, and he loved hearing that story as well. And I suppose my love just went from that point, really. From that one meal, I always was pushing my dad to take me down to London. I remember my first one-star experience was going to Claridge's when it was Gordon Ramsay. And I went with a friend of mine from the College of Food. We always used to go to a restaurant. Some people will be too young listening to this to remember it, called Le Toc d'Or, which is in the site of where Wilderness is now. So that was a fine dining restaurant, very French fine dining restaurant. It shows you how long ago when I was at college. 3 courses was 17 quid for lunch, and you could have Balatina foie gras in that.
Oh my days! You can't even get a glass of water for that now.
I know, yeah. But it's something I've always been happy to spend my money on and enjoy. And some people, if I was to talk about it, I remember writing a review once for an experience that I had at the Fat Duck. Obviously, it was multiple hundreds of pounds, and someone had put underneath my review, how dare you spend your money like this when there's people starving? And I think to myself, well, my cousin is covered in tattoos. He spent about 35, 40 grand on tattoos.
Yeah, they're expensive.
It's up to him. If he wants to spend his money on the tattoos, that's absolutely up to him. That's where he gets his enjoyment from. I do get my enjoyment from, you know, breaking bread, pardon the pun, with friends and having a glass of wine with them. And I think there's something beautiful about the whole experience. And that's from even sitting around having street food in Hockley Social to, you know, what I was telling you before we came on air about, you know, about Brad's and the experiences eating in the car during lockdown, up to, yeah, you know, a 3-star restaurant, or going over to Inisheer in Wales, which I'd probably say is my favourite restaurant of all time.
Yeah, I'm going this year.
24.
Going in July.
Mate.
Can't wait.
I was very lucky to go some years ago now, maybe 6 years ago. We did a pop-up at Simpsons, and I was good friends with Nathan Eads, who was head chef at Simpsons at the time. We just placed him in there, actually. And Nathan said, he phoned me when they'd finished service on the Sunday night and said, we've got to go to this restaurant. It will blow your mind. So Nathan drove us there that week, and 3 of us went, and we sat on what was the kind of chef's table at the time. And it changed the way I thought about food going there that first time, because it was just so different. And I think you're acutely aware of what you're going to get, because you've heard loads of people talking about it. You know, loads of bloggers write about it. He's on the telly loads. I didn't know what I was getting. And there's something about that kind of experience almost, you're just like, wow, it's so ingredient led. His passion is absolutely next level. It feels simple, but it's obviously not. And weeks of preparation and even months. He uses this birch syrup reduction, and when he tells you, ask him to tell you how long the birch syrup takes. They tap the trees, they go around. I mean, it's foraging on another level, really. So. Yeah, the passion is just, and it's never stopped, as you can tell now. I'm just rambling on, and I just think it's just I think that food is really there. Some people will very much treat food as I just need to get full. That's fine if that's what you want. But even here in the office, we've only got a microwave and a George Foreman grill, and what you knock out on them bad boys now. I did a bit of time as a chef, but I was always front of house. And obviously I studied as well. I studied at the College of Food, which is time that I really loved. So it's just never stopped, and I don't think it ever will, really.
So it's one thing like enjoying going out and getting really into it when you're out for a restaurant, but working in it, like what was it that attracted you to working in it? It's a different ballgame.
Yeah, completely. It was just, I went and studied down in Bristol. I didn't get many A-level points. I've never been overly studious. I needed to be really passionate or into something to really, pay any attention to it and do well in it. And I did degree. I didn't really want to do economics and combined science. I don't know what you meant to do with that. And after a year of that, I always worked part-time. So I was down at Hotel de Van, front of house down there, and different places down in Bristol, a little two rosette restaurant, which I loved working at. And my dad just said, look, you can't keep just fucking about, son. You're going to have to do something. And he said, you do love your restaurant, so why don't you go have a look at the College of Food and what they've got to offer. So I moved on to a degree there. I did hospitality and food management, which gave me a good broad business degree as well as the sort of hospitality and food side of things. So I could come out and run a business maybe if I'd have stepped away of hospitality at the end of the degree. But actually, I mean, to be perfectly honest, running a restaurant is the thing I'm best at. We best not tell my clients now on the recruitment side. But, probably as we go through and talk a little bit more about the story and bankruptcy and things like that, I just didn't want it. I just didn't want the evenings and weekends and late nights. And actually, if I was in the industry now, probably it's a different place. It was 60, 65, 70 hours standard, when I was in it. More when we had our own business, and I was just broken by it, to be honest. So came away, but always wanted to stick. I couldn't imagine not doing something in and around hospitality. It's just too much passion within me for it. And my partner, she's got a business which supplies, you both know Joe and the relationship, her business supplies the industry, and like it doesn't matter whether we're having a bit of like buttered toast and the way I butter the toast and present, I just love things done nice and, preparing things with love for people that I care about as well. So even if you're coming round my gaff, I try and do something quite nice, really. Not that I'm, the best cook in the world.
That's it. It's the love though. That's the ingredient people miss. Like my missus, she's good she can cook, but she's got no love for it. And you can tell, like you can just, it's an ingredient. You can't buy that one.
Yeah, definitely. And I sort of try and bring that whatever I'm doing, even if I'm like batch cooking a bolognese, I think, you play to your skill set, don't you, in your house with your partner or whatever, your family. So there'll be stuff that they're good at. It might be like organising the bills and I don't know, like cleaning the bathroom, they're good at that. And like the thing I'm good at is organise the kitchen, sorting out what we're having for like all of the meals and making sure we've got stuff in pretty much like if there was like a nuclear war, we could survive for a good amount of time. Do you know what I mean? Like the level of batch cooking and like everything's dated and stuff like that. And bless Jo, that ain't her skill set at all. In fact, it was a joke when I first went around their house and looked through the cupboards. So I shall leave that like that.
How important do you believe UCB is to the city?
Massively. I think if you look at the people who've come through there, the alumni and the things that they've achieved. I mean, I'm going to miss people now, and I really don't want to. But chefs wise, you got Leo who won an Acorn, and he was like 30 under 30. Michelin star. So Leo Catu, who's now obviously up at Five Ways at Laggy's Deli, but he was at Simpsons for many, many years. Liam Dillon, he's come through there. Dan Lee, he's come through there. Stuart Dealey came through Hales Owen, and then I don't know whether he went there, but these educational facilities, some people will say it's not necessary to get into the industry, and I don't disagree with that. You could go and find a fantastic path of development somewhere without having to go through somewhere like the uni. What would I say? What would my advice be to your kids or to any young people out there starting, would be to go through the educational route. I think that it sort of, there's no stone left unturned, and they'll learn a lot of other things other than the sort of job. I would always work as well. You know, for me, when I was at the college, I found it really weird that people didn't work, and I always used to work. And you found that the people who worked and had jobs, I mean, I was one of the opening team of Simpsons, you know, when it first opened some 22 years ago, and I absolutely loved it. And you get to meet a lot of great people as well when you're out and about and working, but they can't teach you everything in the classroom. So you've got to put the two kind of together. I mean, we're very lucky that we've got UCB. It's probably in the top 3 in the country of catering colleges, probably only behind Westminster, really, if you were going to argue about it.
Yeah.
And it puts a real spotlight on the city, you know, from that perspective. And it's globally renowned as well. You know, people come from all over the world to go there, and it's grown really well. You know, the different facilities that they've got now. They had the Scottish rugby team staying there during the Commonwealth Games recently, and their training facilities and stuff that they've got is absolutely next level. You know, they've got all the different campuses now just down the road from us here in the Jewellery Quarter that join up to the Summer Row campus and stuff. So yeah, I think as far as defining our or helping to define our food scene here in Birmingham, it's been essential, really.
Yeah, there's got to be a link, hasn't there, between the amount of Michelin stars we have and having a great university for it there.
Just having a great food scene and then having the university right there. Yeah. For me, going back to like young people listening, as somebody who didn't go to UCB or have any kind of educational background with being a chef, I just went into a kitchen and started working. It's good for the confidence in that, like, the moment you're already nervous starting in the kitchen, then the moment you're asked to do something that you're expected to have learned in college and you can't do it, you're like, you're starting from a lower position. Like, you're like, oh shit, I should know that, but I don't. I didn't go to college.
Yeah, definitely. As I say, I think, you know, if someone's like maybe not studious or they don't feel it's for them, it shouldn't put them off going into the industry. But my recommendation, as I say, would be to just couple that with work. Yeah, it's 3 years of your life that you're doing from what, I don't know, sort of 17, 18 maybe, higher education, a bit more. You know, you're still so young when you come out. I think chefs are so eager now. They see so-and-so and they want to be a head chef by this. And it's like too much. You know, I think that, I'm going to sound really old now, but I think like young people in general kind of want the world and want it now, but that's how they consume information, and there's a lot changed. But, you know, when you look at classical training, I mean, you see it a lot on MasterChef The Professionals when they do that skills test, where some of them ain't got a clue.
Head chef, 21 years old.
And you're like that, like, looks at a crab like that, fucking hell. Can I have a pot? No, you can't, you know. And you want to be, I would think as a chef, you want to be able to do all of those things. You want to be able to go into Borough Market, be given anything and be able to prep that and know what to do with it. I'd feel a fraud if I didn't.
No.
You know, I'd feel a fraud. I think that's what it gives you. And it also opens you up to so much more. I mean, they've got the Bacchus kitchen in there that's practicing. I mean, I remember when I lectured there, they built this for the guy who was competing that year, Adam, who's over at the Cross. And you've got Andreas Antona's in there with Brian Turner and Alan Williams from the Ritz, and they're trying some of Adam's platter for that year. And I was walking down the corridor, and I worked at Simpsons at the time. Andreas went, "Conrad, come in here and tell us what you think about this." And I went, "Doesn't fucking matter what I think about it, does it? With you three in here." And I says, "I'll definitely give it a try." But I mean, to have that in the middle of your college, you know, it's amazing. And they enter, you know, competitions. They get, you know, the guys that are lecturing there are some really fantastic people as well. You know, you get people, guest lecturers going in and stuff. I think that they're really trying to keep their finger on the pulse of what's happening within the industry and keep everything really current and relevant. I mean, that was the reason I actually left, was I felt that I'd been out of the college as a student, and I went back to lecture for a little bit of time after my business went under. And nothing had changed too much. They were still doing silver service. And I questioned that. I said, right, what's with the silver service? When are they going to do that? You know, these kids are shitting themselves about like doing a bit of turkey at a scallop or something like that, when they're never going to use this. And they're concentrating more on that than they are, you know, talking to the customers who are coming in. As you know, you can go in and pay to go to the restaurant. It's fantastic value. I said the most important thing that they can do is learn how to interact with guests. So all they're doing is trying to concentrate on doing this. That then, when have you ever been somewhere in the last decade and had silver service? You just don't have it.
No.
You know, if you go to the NEC and they're serving 1,000 people, it's just regen, bang, and it's out. And that's the way that you do it. You're not silver serving anymore, luckily, because I was terrible at that. I dropped a potato down Jack's straw once, just before he was going up to talk somewhere. So,
Did they
yeah.
take your comments on board though? Change it? Or,
I mean, I think it was much more than just my comments, but
everyone's comments.
I think everyone was kind of saying that at that time.
And they
You know,
did
it's been
change with
dated.
it.
It's changed and become more modern.
What were you lecturing us? Sorry, to interrupt.
Not at all, no. So it's quite funny. So obviously, I think we're probably going to touch on Great British Eatery in a bit, but sadly, Great British Eatery, for all its sort of commercial success and the fact that we were best in England, it failed. You know, we opened at the start of the credit crunch, so I went bankrupt. So I had to stand up in front of a group of students, my first day lecturing in financial control in hospitality. So I was like, here's how not to do it. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed my time back at the college. I was also lecturing on a bit of food service and bar stuff as well. But it was nice. It was nice to connect with young people. I realised how hard some young people have it these days as well. I came from a very privileged background. I mean, you know, it wasn't like mansions and swimming pools, but I never wanted for nothing. And you realise about how much tougher I think a lot of young people have got it as well now. You also realise that they've got very different attitudes, I think, than the work on 20 years ago as well. And I think a lot of them sadly don't really know what hard work looks like. And certainly speaking to clients and connections, I think that there's a lot of things that people kind of feel that the where are we now? Gen Zs, Gen Ys, I don't even know. I'm definitely showing my age now. You know, it's a very different world now, and I think that employers need to kind of realise how to get the best out of people who are very different than they were when they came into the industry, because we don't want to make the industry a scary place for people. We want people to talk about the industry like I am, and like, you know, so many of my peers do, who absolutely love it. And I think we're much more on it now with regards to work-life balance and looking after people. If I'd have asked for a Saturday night off before, they'd have been looked at me like, "What do you want to say? Saturday night off?" Yeah, you know. And you know, like, I've missed weddings.
Yeah,
you know, I've missed my best mates' weddings where I've had to type, you know, oh yeah, you can get an early out. Well, like some a wedding, but by 9:30 at night, everyone's shit faced, and I'm just like turning up stone cold sober. You know, it's you don't want it to get in the way of your life like that, do you? Really? You know, it's a shame. So hopefully things are changing. I think things are changing for the better.
Well, they need to be dynamic on this. Like, I don't like buzzwords, but that's one word I do stick by. It's a changing industry all the time. People are changing. Everything's changing. COVID changed loads of stuff. Like, some places haven't recovered from it. Some places have done well since. You've just got to be able to move with the times. And if the kids need more time, then you're going to have to try and work around it if you want the people to come in.
Yeah. I think be much more flexible as well. I think people should be looking at, you know, people from an older generation, someone from an older, like someone's, you know, almost like what's to say that someone of retirement-ish age can't be really, really valuable to a restaurant for 2 days a week. You know, people are saying that there's a shortage out there, but yes, there's a shortage out there. But great employers are not finding that too much. I know one of the things that we thought that we could touch on is, okay, well, you know, how do people kind of get round attracting people within their business? And I'll just say, like, be a great employer. If you're a great employer, whatever that looks like, you know, listen to your team, talk to your team on a regular basis. And if you're a great employer, as soon as a vacancy comes along, someone's going to say to their mate, hey, someone's cropped up in our place, and you'd have about 3 people clambering over each other for it. You know, that's the way that it can go if you are a really good employer and you really value your people, you reward them. You know, they work fair hours for fair money, they're getting some decent staff food. I appreciate all of these things. All of these things take time and money, but I believe that you're going to be paid back in dividends. I really do.
We just had Chef MK on our latest podcast we released today, and he said he never struggled with finding team members because he realised from day one that he's not trying to just fulfil vacancies and get people to work. He's there to inspire people and actually touch their lives and make them want to be there and feel part of it, you know.
Totally. I think that, you know, you gotta look to develop your people. And that's not just a chef de partie wanting to be a sous chef within 3 weeks. That's just on a daily basis, maybe in some skills or, you know, moving them around the kitchen or some cross training. Just, you know, like you say, inspiring people. You know, I will say to some people sometimes, like younger people, if they don't seem like they've got that buzz, like when we're talking about even just eating out, like they've got that passion. I'm like, I don't mean to be a dick, but like, have a think about what you're going to do, because it's a tough industry, but it's such a rewarding industry. But you've got to love it.
It's a varied industry as well. So maybe you started as a commie and you've discovered that the kitchen environment isn't for you. Stick them out on the bar, see how they get on.
Exactly, yeah. And let's be honest, different businesses are completely different. Working in a sort of fast casual pizzeria like a Rudy's, which is fantastic. I'm sure we all love it.
Yeah,
lovely and
Rudy's.
busy and a real good buzz about it. Is like a million times different than working at Simpsons, isn't it? Still the hospitality industry. You're still dealing with people. You know, I think that it's. I mean, I've been very lucky. I served some great people. You know, I think about some of the interactions that I had, and like it really makes me smile. And I just used to love giving people a great experience. You know, and hopefully that's still. I think people still do. I think they do. You know, when we go out, we say it. We spoke about some restaurants before, and just as we came on air there, and you know,
90% of the people we encounter work in these places, you can tell that this is what they want to do.
Yeah, they absolutely love it. Yeah.
And they might have a bad day. Everyone has a bad day.
Of course you do. But we tend to go to good places, to be fair. And the good places do hire good people.
Yeah.
They know what they're doing.
They're happy to be there. You know, and they feel they're being nurtured and looked after.
I mean, I know everyone comes back to money and you say, well, just pay them loads of money and they'll come. But there's been that many studies that have shown, like, up until a certain point, once your basis of money has been covered to a certain point, it's not about that. It's all about feeling like you're needed, like you're wanted. You got, was it Maslow's hierarchy of needs?
Absolutely.
That kind of thing. So there's that much studies. It's not just about money.
No.
It's about feeling valued. Sometimes people I know all the time, they get paid very well, but they just don't feel like...
completely.
People earning good money, they're not fucking happy.
Yeah. I think that you know, feeling you're being developed is something big. You know, especially even if it's not your career, even if you're working part time as a student, but you want to feel like you're learning stuff all the time. And then I think, like you said, feeling part of a team, feeling part of something, you know, being like very open and honest and, right, this is what we want to achieve tonight, guys. And then all getting together and having it, you know, on that Friday and Saturday night service, whatever, having a beer after and having a giggle. It's like, you can't replicate that, you know, that feeling. Like, I always liken it to the way that I feel, even doing what I'm doing. I feel like a retired footballer who watches the game now rather than playing in it, you know, because like I miss it. Like I said to you again before we came on here, that's what I was best at. I was best at running a restaurant. You know, you put me front of house, host point, GM, problems, or when I used to just run a section, I just used to absolutely love it. It was just, that was the sort of best thing for me, really.
So even just saying it just brought me back to sitting around when everything's closed. It's just the lads and the staff.
Yeah.
You're all sitting there having do you remember that twat came in tonight? What about that geezer came in?
Yeah.
You're having the crack and you're like, I just missed that now straight away. Just mentioning it. Like.
It is. You know, the chefs would come out and you know, you'd all sit down. And I used to work a couple of places as well where you'd close in between lunch and dinner. And I remember a staff food place called the River Station in Bristol. It was a 2 rosette place, really, really nice. I used to love working there. And I was studying the degree that I didn't do well in while I was there. But I used to love going in, and then you'd have like the leftover bread from lunchtime. They'd make a salad, and you'd all sit down, all mixed, chefs in front of house. And it, you know, not every restaurant can do that. I appreciate, you know, some don't have that break where they close. And, you know, I mean, as we know, Brad's taken that, you know, staff meal like to the absolute next level of it being a marketing tool. You know, books and a recruitment tool. You know, people are like, fuck, I want to go and eat that every day. You know, how unbelievably clever. I speak to not naming any names, but, I've spoken to people who might have worked there in the past who say, and they say, fuck, sometimes it's a bit of a ball ache to do because, you're in the shit and, this, that and the other, and you go, someone just film me just pouring this fish sauce into here. Fuck off. To send 4 of them, But it's clever, innit? And I love to see it every day. I mean, last time I was in there, I was on the chef's table. I was like, can you get me in the story, for today? Yeah. And I was like, yeah, we can. And I'm just there like, I was like watching it the next day, like buzzing.
It's just small things that don't cost a lot. You can just do that and make people
Yeah. No, they're good guys there, aren't they?
You kind of touched on Great British Eatery. I don't know how much you want to talk about it, or what made you want to start your own business first?
Well, I've always wanted my own business, really. I started a business, I was about 11, washing cars, and I gave it a brand name and I made some stickers to put on the buckets and shit like that. I've always wanted to earn my own money. That was very important to me. I had 3 jobs at one point, paper round, KP, and used to glass collect as well. So I've just always wanted to earn my own money, really, from a young age. And I think being in the hospitality industry, I'd done something very structured with Mitchells and Butlers. I'd done something then with the Après guys, which was kind of an independent group. And I really wanted to open a gastropub. I thought that a really good gastropub, and to be honest, I still do feel like, King and Plough-esque sort of multi-rosette would do very, very well here in a pub environment. We've got some good gastropubs of the lovely pubs and peach kind of ilk, but actually, taking it the kind of step above. But I realised how much money you'd need to open a gastropub, and I shut my arse and I thought, right, let's go and do something else. And so fish and chips, it was just really, really badly done here. You'd got some traditional fish and chip shops, like George and Helen's around the corner from me. It's good chippy, man, really good. But as I was looking into and researching, we was having fish and chips of the gods, and we were driving round. By the point we knew we were going to do it, we could have 4 portions of fish and chips a day and just share them. And I mean, yeah, it was just superb. So I just felt that no one was doing it very well here, and actually that the barriers of entry because of the cost were, it was more accessible. So yeah, myself and a pal got it going. There was 4 of us in the first instance, but it didn't do well very quickly. We opened the day that the credit crunch was announced in 2008, and we were next to a Domino's and a Subway, and they were doing, meals for £1, and we just couldn't do that. We'd set up as a premium product. We fried everything to order. We double cooked the chips. It was all about how can we do it the best we could do it, not the cheapest. If you're going to open a chip shop and it probably was in the wrong location, really. You couldn't stop your car there. It was good for offices at lunchtime. We had a decent-ish lunchtime trade. But there's a couple of places, you kick yourself. Location, innit? We were lucky enough in 2010 to be voted as the #1 shop in England, which is, I've still got the plaque. We were number 3 in the UK, but #1 was in Scotland, #2 was in Wales, and we were the English shop. So we were 3rd in the UK that year, #1 in England. And, it's still one of my greatest professional achievements. So, when you say about, how much do you want to talk about it? I'll fucking talk about it all day. You can't, I'll give it everything.
Well, obviously that's the good bits, but then obviously...
Yeah, I mean, look, going bankrupt is fucking shit. Yeah. There's no doubt about it. I think it teaches you a lot of lessons. I mean, we set it up as as a partnership, which was the wrong thing to do because you got the liability on it. And luckily, neither of us had a lot of assets of which to speak, so there was only 2 people left in the business by the end of it, myself and one of my best pals, Andy. And we could have kept on going, not earning any money and working 100-hour weeks, but you've got to get to a point where you're like, what's going to happen here? I mean, let's bear in mind, it was before any of the delivery markets. There was no social media. There was no independent Birmingham. There's no I Choose Birmingham. So, the way that everyone gets behind the indies now, I mean, we still lose some that we don't want to lose, which is deeply saddening. But I think if you fast forward a few years, and we might have had a bit of a chance, really. To do deliveries, we had to get our own fucking van. We had to get our own this, that, and the other. Someone would phone up and be like, "Right, I want a delivery there." We had no way of saying was it quicker to do there? Well, there, just get in the fucking van with the geezer's chips and drop them off. So there was a lot of naivety there. But the product, I miss the product. I mean, a Chippy's opened that was meant to be very, very good. in a Birmingham postcode, and I've tried it 3 times and I won't go back. I mean, I mean, it was okay, but it wasn't great. Best I've had in the country is the Magpie Cafe in Whitby. It's amazing. Really good, famous fish and chip shop. A guy, he's won best in the country. I just think it's such a beautiful dish when it's done well.
You know where they do good fish and chips? Thai Cross Zoo.
Really?
Seriously.
That makes me want to go to the zoo now.
Seriously, it's good fish and chips. They take it really serious.
Black Country Museum is meant to be good as well.
Yeah, Black Country.
Because they do, because we fried in drippings.
Yeah.
You know, because it
fries
fries at the high point of really high temperature. So, you know, the fish really, a big piece of fish is only going to be in there 6 minutes before it's cooked, and the batter's crispy as anything. Lovely, you know, flaky fish in the middle. It's just beautiful. Did homemade tarts. I'm fucking starving now, boys. Jeez, I want some fish and chips.
I've never been there, but you know Laura bought your Brum and Ian, they always go back up to where he's from, Cleveland. And they put pictures of their fish and chips, and I'm so fucking jealous. Why doesn't ours look like that?
They know their fish and chips, then pair, most definitely. I've spoken to both of them about fish and chips quite a lot. I just think, you know, our national dish, it should be done better, really.
I understand now at the minute why it's quite hard to do it quite well, because obviously cost of oil's like trebled, cost of cuts,
everything,
cost of heating the oil,
everything's ridiculous. So
everyone's trying to keep them fries on all
cutting
day.
costs, and I understand.
Yeah, I mean, as I say, margins were sort of tight there. You know, I mean, we served everything, you know, where people are just wrapping it in paper, we served it in biodegradable, recyclable cardboard boxes. You know, they were expensive. We used knives and forks that are made out of like potato starch. We wanted to be super sustainable.
Well ahead of your time then.
Well, but I think because normally for most fish and chip shops, the dad, the uncle owns the chippy, and they go, "You fucking do it like that, or you ain't doing it." You know what I mean? And we didn't have that. What we did, we were like that, right? We can do whatever we want, and we went round at least 50 good shops. I mean, at least. And we just went, we like that. We like magpies, just picking every little bit of what was great from them. And you know what? As an industry, it's an industry that loves helping their own, because actually all they want is better shops that raise the bar and put more pride into it. And I mean, we were quite marketable as well. You know, the Broadway Plaza that we were part of, they had that like a marketing team that, you know, 2 young lads doing the national dish and going out on their own in a bad economic climate. It was a nice little story, really, and we got quite a bit of coverage and stuff. Met some cool people as well, you know, we did some good little pop-ups. Did a purity beer tasting night with Paul Halsey. That was really nice. Did some special bits and bobs. And we did a secret dining society. Do you know Carl Finn, who used to do SDS? So it used to be like hidden nights, so you wouldn't know what you was getting, and he just put it out on his social. 30 covers, fish sort of tasting menu. And he'd just sell
on
it
Twitter, just on Twitter.
Yeah, just on Twitter. Yeah. And he'd be like, it's 50 quid. Yeah. Meet in 5 ways, holding a lemon on that night once you've paid your money. And we did 7-course tasting. We did like John Dory with triple cooked chips. Everyone got up and did their own. We dropped one of the fryers with the beef dripping, and everyone got up and did like ice cream balls, battered, fried, rolling it all in like hundreds and thousands and stuff. We did an anchovy ice cream, a bit like Heston. We just did all sorts, like some of the fun stuff. We used to fuck about with that fryer. We'd batter anything, man. Anything. I mean, cream eggs. Like, I'd just hear Andy, like he'd been up over at Tesco's, like anything, trust me. You'd just try and fry it, you know.
Fried pickles, you know. Frickle, they're unreal.
A frickle is fantastic.
Yeah, it's a thing of beauty, isn't it?
A lot of people hadn't heard of them until like Meat Shack opened, and they did off-menu frickles, but they are amazing. Yeah. Like really good. The first time I had it was what was the burger place in London off Regent Street, where it had all the graffiti and it was really dark. They started from street food. And I was like, that's the future. Like, that is the future there. You know, like a nice, almost a tempura batter. You don't like a big, thick batter, do you? It's like a nice, thin batter. But yeah, blue cheese dip, bush. I mean,
the bad Snickers.
Yeah.
Battered Snickers.
Like, trust me, if you're going to ask me about, like, did you batter chocolate, the fucking lot, man. We did a pop-up the day that Boris said that we couldn't go out to pubs anymore. You can stay open, but I don't think anyone should go. Good old Boris, well done for that. And we were up at Pint Shop. You all remember Pint Shop?
Yeah, it's class.
So
battered cream egg.
Yeah, we did the battered cream egg as a pudding. And I thought they did a really good job of the product as well. You
Yeah, it
know,
was
like
immense,
the guys, you know, pretty much followed the way that we used to kind of do things, really. And that was really good. And it was lovely because I saw a lot of the old faces who used to come to the shop and like used to enjoy it. And I worked front of house that weekend, and I miss it. Don't get me wrong, I miss it, but I just wish I could. If anyone wants to do it, if anyone wants the name, and I'll tell you how to do it. You can. Anyone listening?
You weren't tempted to do orange chips?
They became a thing as we were open, really, and I think they're bloody lovely. I must admit,
crazy,
Like, really good. I think the way that we kind of double fried and stuff, slightly different, but I mean, I do love them. It's like a bit more of a black country thing, isn't it?
Yeah, you go there, they're everywhere.
But they're class, yeah.
Unreal.
Where can we go and get some fish and chips after this one? Seriously, can we pause it and go and get some fish and chips? Have you ever spoke to somebody who says they don't like fish and chips? You know, they either don't eat fish, but if you eat fish, you're like, I love fish and chips. And it's a beautiful, beautiful meal. And actually, as far as like takeaways go, it's pretty healthy. People think it's not. If it's done right, it's pretty healthy. Frying in beef dripping like that, because it's only in the oil for a certain amount of time, as long as you drain it off, you know, you compare it to some of the other options that one could have. You know, if you compare it to like a butter chicken or a chicken tikka masala, it'd be like way better.
So you're not comfy in the chips. You're sealing the outside super quick and crispy.
Exactly. And I ain't telling anyone to go out and have it every fucking night. I wouldn't mind.
I wouldn't mind.
But yeah, let's part the fish and chips.
Yeah.
It was a good time, and it taught me a lot.
What was your biggest lesson? That's what my real question was.
I learned just how hard I could work. We were doing sometimes, 90-hour weeks.
What was your biggest lesson from the failure?
I don't know, really. I suppose the way that I wanted to use my time moving forwards, really, the fact that I had some offers to come back into the industry, some decent GM roles, and I didn't want to do that. It was just a case of, I knew I wanted to do something to do with hospitality, but I didn't want to do those hours at the time. I was with my partner who wasn't in the industry, wasn't doing those kind of hours. So you sort of look at it and go, like, do I really want to be like, if you work in some busy places, you could be out all day Friday, all day Saturday, and all day Sunday if you've got a decent Sunday lunch trade. Oh, don't worry, we have last orders at 5 o'clock on a Sunday, so I'm getting out at 8.
And you go for a few drinks after with everyone.
Well, yeah, exactly, yeah. So I suppose, it was don't get me wrong, it was really, really hard. And probably the biggest thing I learned was how to survive on fuck all, because when you're bankrupt, it was just pretty hardcore for a bit, but actually it kind of taught me what was a little bit important. I remember when I first was able to get a mobile phone contract again, because obviously you can't have anything on credit at all. I come out the EE shop, like clicking my heels, like people must have been like, fucking hell, has he just got a free phone or what? I just got a contract. But I sort of learned how to not, worry about dealing with things on credit and just sort of spending what I've got, really. So I suppose there's a few lessons to be learned. But I'm a big believer, like people always go, I bet you could change it. And I'm kind of like, I wouldn't really change anything I've done in my life. I've had the bad things are your bumps in the road, but what about if you didn't have those bad things and you ended up on a different road? Like, if you're happy where you are, you have some really, we all have shit, don't we? Like, life is a fucking roller coaster, and I wouldn't change that. I wouldn't. It's got me to kind of where I am. I met so many people through that. My network really was, and obviously my network's incredibly useful now in what I do. So, yeah, I wouldn't change it.
Would you say you're better at kind of spotting people who are kind of making similar mistakes or something? So, everyone sells you this big business, don't they? They come to you with this big business idea, or I'm going to do this, I want to open this, and you're sitting back thinking, yeah, I've been there.
I think that you just need to, we were probably a little bit naive with regards to our location. You really got to think about your location. But I'm a firm believer, actually, that, nowadays, if you look at like some of the locations of certain things in Birmingham, they're a little bit off the beaten track, but it's a small city now, isn't it? Like, we could walk to almost the other side. We could walk to Digbeth from here, and we're pretty much the other side of the city, excuse me. So I think, you just got to be, if you're sure and you're passionate and you're willing to work hard, I think there's there's a lot of ideas out there that we haven't got in the city. There's a lot of restaurants we haven't got that I think, could still be exploited by people.
I think that's a whole other podcast to go into that. So I'm going to just skip that bit. But so it brings us nicely to how you got to recruitment after you left
Yeah, so I spent, as I said, a little bit of time at the College Food. They found out about what had happened, and I think they reached out and said, if you want to come and do a bit here, you can. So that I'll be eternally grateful for that, because it just gave me the time to have a think about what I wanted to do next, really. And a friend of mine said, you're a confident guy, talking to people and stuff, gobshite. And, he's like, I'm sure you'd do pretty well on the phone. Come and do a bit of recruitment for me and just see if you like it. And it was sales and marketing recruitment. And I did quite like it, albeit it was not what I was really interested in at all. So I kind of felt after a few months of doing that with this mate that if I was to do this, it was going to have to be in hospitality, in catering. My knowledge and passion, is there. So I did it for someone else for a little bit. And then I met my old boss from Off to Work. Off to Work is a casual staffing agency, and no one did permanent recruitment for them. So I said I'd love to set up the perm department. By this point, I was probably 18 months into bankruptcy, so it would still be another 5.5 years before I could run my own business again and be a director. But let's practice with someone else's money. But a great company as well. I still have fantastic links with Off to Work, and I only would have left to set Tonic up. That I had great times with Off to Work. They're a great company, and I met some wonderful people. And I got to work on some unbelievable events. I worked at the F1. I worked at the British Open. I watched more golf than I could ever have imagined. I used to look after the managing director of MasterCard every year as one of the patron sponsors, and it used to be like every year, be like, Sea Dog, we got Sea Dog again. Give me the Rioja Sea Dog. Just great experiences. Their strapline as a business is enabling amazing experiences for, I guess, the people that work for them as a casual and everyone else, and the people who are going to the events. And it was, it was really cool doing that and doing the permanent recruitment. We grew the team here, we grew the team in London, and I realised that, I could make this work when the time came, really. So then
I suppose it was just a people's business, same as hospitality, same as front of house.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people in recruitment, when you go to a party, you say, "Oh, you're a recruiter. Go and stand over there with the estate agents." Do you know what I mean? They do have a bit of a bad rap, and I think rightly so as well. There's a lot of people who are very numbers driven. They don't really care about the client. They don't really care about the candidate. It's just get them in and get them out. And I've heard some right horror stories, to be perfectly honest. I'd used recruiters as a client, and I'd used them as a candidate in the past, in the time in the industry. Never been placed by anyone, but my experiences weren't good. So, all the while I was working for Off to Work, I was thinking about how I would really be the best recruiter I could be and start the best business. And so I was good friends with David Colcom at the time. He'd left Opus, and David introduced me to a lady who invested the money. She's got a fantastic PR company. Her name's Liz Lewis-Jones, called Liquid PR, and she invested the money to start Tonic off. And then it was something that David and she very much did to help me. I bought the business off her after a couple of years, and the rest is history, really. We are sort of 6 years later. Pandemic was interesting. I've only got a small team, managed to top their salary up every single month throughout the whole of the time. Sadly, I couldn't get anything because of the way that things are. But, I'm not the only one. People would say to me, don't you think you should have more support? I say, if you start giving me more support, you give the fisherman, the potato man, you give everyone more support. I could go and recruit whatever I wanted, couldn't I? No one's making me recruit purely for hospitality. I could go off and do whatever I wanted. I mean, if someone would have told me how long it was going to be, I'd have gone and been a delivery driver or stacked shelves. As I said to you earlier, I like working. I'm someone who's always took enjoyment from the getting up, going to work, working really hard, having downtime at home or meeting up with friends afterwards and having a really good time. It's that work hard, play hard mentality of you deserve the drink at the end of the night kind of thing, and I found the lockdown just like, I know, thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people, everyone found it an absolute nightmare. But yeah, it's just that not knowing, it's that needing to be on point in case Tonic needed to go again. And then we're opening back up again and having a few inquiries, and then we're off again. And, if someone had said, you could go and get a job for 18 months, I'd have got a job, I really would. So we're still here. We're still fighting. I love what I do. I'm very, very lucky. You know, I speak to friends some mornings on the way into work, and they're a bit down in the mouth or whatever after Christmas. Oh, I don't want to go back. I've had time with the kids, and I'm like, it's great. You know, I love what I do. We do a lot. We're involved in a lot in the city, in the industry as well. And yeah, we keep ourselves nice and busy. I think we're valued by our clients and our candidates, which I think is really important. Of course, we're a necessary evil. Of course, they'd love to put an Instagram post out and get 12 CDPs walking through the door next Saturday, but they're not going to get that. And I think that, you know, we are looked at by a lot of our clients as an extension of their brand. A lot of people will come to us when they just want genuine advice, and I am more than happy to give anyone advice. You know, I had someone call up because they'd seen a post that we did, and they were going for a job through another recruiter, and he said, I know. And I said, I'll give you some, I don't care. I'll give you some help. I'll give you some advice. It's not always about that money, grab sort of. Yeah. A lot of recruiters are looked at like that, and if anything, I want to be the complete antithesis of that in order to try and readdress the balance. Don't get me wrong, I want to get paid. Yeah, but you know, I think that we give a lot back. We give a lot of our time back. We do a lot for different charities. We do a lot for different organisations and the industry, and like that's a lot of time. That's I could be doing other things during that time, but I think it's important.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not blowing up smoke here because you're saying in front of us. We speak to a lot of people in the industry, and you are really well respected. Tonic's well respected.
Yeah, I hope so.
And that's because you do give back to the community as well.
Yeah, I think so. I hope so anyway. You know, for us, it's very important to do that. I mean, the passion's there. You know, I want the best for the industry. I go and lecture.
Rooting for these guys anyway.
Yeah, definitely. You know, I go back and lecture at UCB, and, you know, they give you a little bit of money, which I always donate to Hospitality Action. We obviously started Chef, which is our networking group here in the Midlands. It stands for Catering, Hospitality, Education Forum, and it's for operators. We used to do it once a month, but that's quite a lot for us. So we have 6 meetings a year, and it's free for anyone in the Midlands who's an operator in hospitality, or, you know, even if one of you guys wanted to come, you know, if you're invested in the industry. What we don't want is like loads of like butchers who are trying to sell meat to chefs come along or stuff like that. Like, I don't want vultures circling, trying to get their like time with someone and trying to sell to them. But people who are passionate about the industry. I mean, we have some fantastic people come to speak, and it's a real honour to kind of head that up here, really. We do work with Springboard. I do a lot of stuff with Love Brum, which is obviously very, you know, linked to the city, and also Cypher Fireside as well, the homeless charity.
How did you get invited to this, or is it just through a link?
To be honest, we've got a list of about 70 people who've either been before or they've contacted us. We used to do some social for it, but since Caitlin's been off on maternity, our social's shit because she's the expert. So if you look, you can see on the timeline of our social when Caitlin went on maternity because it went shit, you know. So Caitlin, if you listen to this, we miss you, and please can you come back? So you just contact us through any of the different means, like any way of messaging us through any of the socials. If you search Tonic Talent and you drop us a message, or you hop onto the website and just say, I'm interested in Chef, this is my email, then, you know, people can come along. So the next one is on the 27th of March at the Grand Hotel. And we've got a gentleman to come and talk called Matt from a business called Hospro. When I say a business, yes, it is how he makes his money, but it's his second time coming to see us. And he tells a really, really powerful story about his experiences within the industry. And I'm not going to kind of ruin it, but he's got sort of ways of talking to people about happiness within their businesses and how happy people really are. You were saying earlier about, it's not about giving people a few more quid. We spoke about development and this, that, and the other. But actually, let's take all of those things away. Yes, they're all very important, but how happy are you? That happiness depends on different things then, you know, and he talks about that, and he had a very bad experience, which is manifested itself into now a very good experience, and he's making a kind of a business out of this. But it's his second time coming to talk, and I know it'll be fascinating. So, I mean, I think we've already got about 40 people. We could probably get it to about 60, 70. You do get a lot of people dropping off as well, you know, like any event. We've never wanted to charge for it. You know, we pay the travel of the person who's coming. But other than that, we beg, borrow and steal everything. So the grand we're very grateful to the Grand Hotel this time for hosting us. But last time it was at Urban Coffee. We had a fantastic couple of discussions over at Urban. The Drinks Trust, who are a benevolent charity that I personally hadn't heard of, are trying to launch here in Birmingham, and they came and did a talk, which was fantastic. Another thing we're involved in, which I could give a shameless plug to, is Be Inclusive Hospitality. So Be Inclusive they approached us looking to help with their Birmingham launch. They launched in London some time ago. It's a not-for-profit organisation, and it's about getting people from marginalised communities and backgrounds into the hospitality industry. I can only speak for our networking events. There are a lot of white faces in that room, and that's I don't think what anyone wants. It's completely not representative of the fantastic multicultural city that we all absolutely embrace and love. So if you just keep an eye on our socials, we're looking to we're running an event again that the Grand we're very grateful that they said that they will host to launch Be Inclusive Hospitality here in Birmingham. They just want to sort of piggyback on our network, which we're more than happy to do, give up some time. And there's going to be a really fantastic panel discussion. We're hoping to have some really interesting things happening. We've got our first sort of kick-off meeting this Friday morning, and it's going to be in April. So it's April the 24th.
April the 24th.
Yeah, April the 24th at the Grand Hotel. So that one, as I say, that the only thing that we are putting into that is that we're using our network to help to drive people to the event. I think there'll be a small cost associated for that event, but there's going to be a really interesting panel discussion. There'll be some food and drinks obviously available, and it'll be a really nice opportunity to kind of network and spread the word for Be Inclusive. So if anyone's interested in that, again, please get in touch. You can follow those guys on social as well.
I'll put some links in there.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. Thank you. I'll send some across. I think I'm in a lucky position where people will come to us like that. And
I'm sure you're like mega busy as it is. Like, why is it important for you to do that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm a believer in giving a bit, really. I just think that I see some people who do way more than I do. I see people who do less. And I just think if you're in a position where you can help people with your network, or you can give it some time. So, the walk for wellbeing that we do for Hospitality Action, it takes up a lot of time. Last year here in Birmingham, we maybe had 30 odd people walking. We should be having loads more than that here, man. We've been banging the drum about that for Hospitality Action for a long, long time. And, you don't have to get sponsorship if you don't want, but it is about raising a little bit of money. But, if everyone who came and walked got like 50 quid, we'd have had loads of dough. But
anyone could have joined the team. Like, it wasn't just, you weren't just looking for Tonic and relationship.
Oh God, no. As you say, Joe helped us with that as well. A few people walked from Albert Schloss, a few people walked from Tattoo, Urban, a few people from the Grand. A couple of people from the Ivy as well, and there's going to be people that I've forgotten there, so I'm really, really sorry to people that I've forgotten. But it was really lovely.
It's good
really
fun,
nice.
I suppose. It's not like
It was really good fun. We had a lovely day. It was in October. This year it's the structured walk's on the 8th of October, but people can walk wherever they want, and it's to raise money for Hospitality Action and to raise awareness of well-being and mental health as well.
So for people who don't know, where was it that you just walked? It was
so we started. It was really kindly hosted by the guys down at Crazy Pedro's this year. So we started and ended there, but we went all down the old sort of canal network round to Brindley Place, out towards some really lovely like leafy green areas of the Edgbaston Reservoir, down the Harborne Walkway, the Harborne Mile into Harborne. Very grateful to the guys at the Plough. They put some refreshments on there, so just some water and whatnot. We could stop. Obviously, I had a pint, but water was also available. And then from there back into Brums, through the city centre and down to Digbeth. It's a nice little 20-kilometre, maybe 4-hour sort of stroll with some really lovely people, and we had a real giggle, man. And again, I think the reason we started Chef, as an industry, we don't get together much. K people are working and K people are busy. I understand that. But actually, it was a really nice opportunity to all come together as our meetings are, and just share what's going on and kind of talk. And yeah, I think that a lot of industries do it brilliantly.
Yeah.
And they're always networking, and it's like there's something every night. And why don't we?
I think it's because most people in the industry are working most nights. Whereas like most 9-to-5ers, they're happy to come and do something.
Yeah. No, you're right. I mean,
it's like when we speak to chefs and we say, "Oh, we used to ask them. I think we don't do it anymore.
What's your favourite restaurant?
What's your favourite restaurant?" And they say, "I don't know, because when we're closed, they're closed."
yeah.
8 beans and toast and a pot noodle, mate.
yeah. I mean, it's with our things. We do it on a Monday, our meetings for chef, and we do it on a Monday afternoon. And some people go, "Oh, that's one of my only days off," which I completely get. And it's hard. It's hard with anything, to sort of get a volume of people there. But yeah, I mean, I think that there's some good opportunities for people to kind of muck in and network and kind of build what we've got here as a hospitality industry in the Midlands a little bit more. I think we all owe it to the industry and to each other to do what we can to support it. Now that could be picking an independent to go and have some food rather than a big national chain because it's better for the region. Or that might be, attending a networking thing or raising some money for a local charity with regards to the industry. Who knows, But I think if we're all a little bit more mindful of the way that we're going about it, then it can only make the world our little local world a bit of a better place.
Because we'll miss it when it's gone.
Yeah. Totally. Well, we all know what it's like when it's gone as well, don't we? Because we all had the pandemic and we were all crawling the walls.
It's a kind of tonic focus. For anyone who doesn't know, what is it exactly you do on the day-to-day? So recruitment kind of is a bit vague,
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, we're an absolute specialist in hospitality and catering recruitment, and that's all that we do. We don't go recruiting for any other industries, etc. People will come to us either who are looking for work, they're looking for a job. So I'm a candidate, I'm a chef, and we will ask them, what they're looking for, the culture of their business, what they've enjoyed about roles before, and really try and find a really great match for their next career move. Conversely, we might work from the client side, where someone comes to us and says, we need a chef and we need them to be this, this and this and X, Y and Z. And, I'll ask them a lot of questions about the business and the opportunity, the training, the onboarding, and then we'll try and go away and find a really good match for that. And we work with businesses nationwide. We've done a bit of international stuff, and that could be from a street food trader up to a multinational 5-star hotel. For us, it's about it being a great business. I think that's really, really important. We say no to at least a third of the inquiries that we get because we don't need vacancies. Bless my mum, every time she drives past a pub in our end of nowhere, she phones me and goes, "They need a chef at the Robin Hood." And I'm like, fucking hell, mum, everyone needs a chef. You know what I mean? But I don't put her off. She will undoubtedly listen to this. So sorry, mum. But yeah, I mean, the power really is in the candidate now. We would have gotten cock a hoop before the pandemic, getting some of the vacancies that we have access to now. But actually, if you find a great person, and you can really get their buy-in and find them the next move, then that's really what the key is now. And we're members of REC, which is the Recruitment and Employment Confederation. So we have to do things right. We're kind of audited, and I don't want to go into the boring bits of recruitment, but for me, there are some shyster recruiters out there. I've heard some horror stories of people pulling people out after a few months that they've put in somewhere to put them somewhere else when they've got paid. And, you get tired with that brush. People lying to candidates about the opportunity. Oh, it's the best thing since sliced bread, and it's horrendous. I would, if someone can go and spend a couple of days in a business to really see it, the candidate might say to me, well, that's just free labour. No, it's your chance to go and see them as much as them see you. Yeah. I think people need to remember that people who are serious about their career, when you go for an interview, it's a two-way process. They've got to try and impress you as much as you've got to try and impress them.
Is it the norm? You say, we would like to sit a candidate down or a business down and get some like a feel for the business or a feel for the candidate, get their personality.
Yeah, good recruiters.
Is that normal? Yeah,
really good recruiters will. Yeah, I mean, I know of some.
I mean, obviously, you'd make more money if you just quickly threw everybody into every role.
Totally. I know some people who do everything over the phone, and we used to meet people if they were local. but actually we were doing recruitment in Scotland and we weren't meeting them. We were having as much success as we were meeting them. So now we do everything over a video call, but you will screen them and then do the video call. And we also tend to record a little bit of the video call as well and send it over to the client. So, yeah, we're much more thorough, I think, than our...
It's almost like a job interview in itself.
Yeah, it is, yeah. I mean, I called one of our really good clients the other day. I said, I found a CDP. He's absolutely brilliant. I'm about to send the CV. He says, just make him a job offer. He just trusted me that much. He didn't even look at the CV. He just said, just make him the job offer. If he can start on Monday like that, just, I trust you. And I offered him verbally that bang. And then that was that. You know, I mean, that's a level of trust. I remember when I first got into recruitment, doing the sales and marketing, someone I was talking to, they weren't within our business, but kind of a little mentor. She knew someone so well that she didn't have to send CVs. She just put them on the person's calendar, the client's calendar to meet. She's like, I can see a gap on the calendar, bang. And I thought, that's what you want to attain, that level of trust. You know, it's like when you go to an Andy Stubbs pop-up, don't matter what's on the fucking menu, you know it's going to taste good, right? So, like, you just trust Andy to just cook some absolutely mustard food. And, you know, it's nice to be in that position of trust with our candidates and our clients, really, that hopefully we are in. And if, you know, if you get it wrong, you hold your hands up and you go back to the drawing board. But we don't get it wrong very often, I think. You know, we're pretty... Yeah, touch wood, lucky, and it's strange because the harder we work, the luckier we get.
A lot of people find that. We spoke earlier a little bit about what businesses can do to be more attractive, like be better employers.
Yeah.
What can candidates do to be more employable?
I think that it depends on the level of seniority. So I know that we spoke about, you know, about junior people coming into the industry. And when I go back and lecture at the College of Food, etc., about employability, there's like things that require zero talent. You know, people go, oh, that person's like cleverer than me, or da. And like being on time, giving 110%, having a positive attitude, being enthusiastic, being passionate, using positive body language, learning from your mistakes and being coachable, being prepared, being honest, and going the extra mile. Anyone can do all of them, can't they? Any one person can do all of them. I've got as much ability to do that as yourself or yourself. You know what I mean?
Like positive, or not positive attitude, but having the right attitude. And we're finding more and more that we speak to people when we say, like, what do you look for when you look for someone? They all say, oh, the right attitude.
Yeah, but totally.
Can that be changed? Is that connected at all? Is that something?
I think that
once someone's got a bad attitude, it's just hard.
I suppose if you get a fantastic manager who sees through your bit of negativity in the first instance and then wants to take you under their wing and develop you, then yeah, I suppose it can.
But more from the candidate's point of view, can I listen to this and think, you know, I could probably do with working on my attitude a little bit?
Yeah, well, I think people can, but it's hard, I think, with someone who's got a negative attitude that they're ever going to have that thought about changing it. To them, it's the norm kind of thing, you know. I think people, you know, just, you want to look at where you're going to be happy and go and work somewhere you're going to be happy. You know, there are a myriad of different businesses from, like, when I went into Mitchells and Butlers, it was super sort of structured and your development was there. But if you wanted to be creative and think about something, no, there's no need to be creative, sunshine. But I didn't mind that because I was learning, you know. But actually for me, I want to be somewhere where my ideas are listened to, and it's not like making an adjustment to the business isn't like turning a battleship, but that's because I'm very entrepreneurial and I'm quite creative and I want to be able to be agile. That's going to suit some people. I think it's about knowing you and what you want, and then working somewhere that like reflects and is going to kind of give you what you want. And then just, you know, yeah, but like there's very different businesses, different needs. I absolutely adore a restaurant called Brat in London. It is phenomenal. The staff, I don't know what they're giving them, but they're that natural. Yeah. You know, the way us three are like chatting here, like we could just you'd sit any of them down, and you know they're like legends. And I think some places have excellent service here in Birmingham, don't get me wrong, but that really relaxed, informal but professional, we don't really have that. We don't really have businesses that offer that. That's the kind of thing, it's very Shoreditch, I get it, but you know, that's the type of thing I think that a lot of young people could really buzz off that kind of thing here, because I think that if you're working with someone like a Brad Carter or a Luke Tippin, I used to say to Luke, let me try that, and he'd love it. He'd be like, try this sauce, try this.
Yeah.
But Simpsons or Carter's might not be the right environment for you. Well, why can't we get a Brat? I'd love a Brat, by the way. If you'd like to open in Birmingham, we'd love a Brat. Super 8 restaurants. I believe the guy is a Brummie originally, is the biggest investor. But like somewhere where a young person can work with amazing produce and amazing wines, but they can lean on the fire extinguisher and call someone a soppy cunt. And it's not a problem. You know, I mean, when I worked at Simpsons, a table wrote a letter to Andreas complaining because I interjected on a conversation. They were having a conversation about whether Tom Cruise was a great actor. And I was like, of course Tom Cruise is a great actor. Have you seen Born on the 4th of July and this and this? How dare the waiter? How dare he? Well, I mean, come on.
Jesus.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I left not long after that because I was like, I love it there. I love the food. Don't get me wrong, it was there, and when even Pennell's then, I can't even remember what his first place was called. Jessica's. His first place was called Jessica's, wasn't it? There were the two restaurants. That was where you got good food, or if you wanted something a bit more relaxed, it was Bank. And actually, I'd worked at Bank as well. We've come, I mean, look at where we've come. We've been speaking about like the long list, as long as your arm of places, but we could still do with that little bit more relaxed and great. Yeah, I mean, look, you know, just up the road from me, like Tierra Tacos. Relaxed, great. You know, you got one of the best barmen in the city who's taken up camp there in Toby Heap because he just wants to work with really good produce, with nice people, and have it chill. And, you know, he used to run one of the best restaurant bars in O'Feam for me, you know, that the offering there and stuff. He really helped to kind of get that going. So I think it's about finding your home and thinking that's where I want to be and grafting, you know, like people will get on, young people. I do a lot of training with Springboard, and I say to them, by the time you're 25, you could be running a £2 million business. There's nothing to say that an 18-year-old couldn't be a GM of a Nando's in 7 years. Nothing, because the turnover rate's so high. And they go like that, what you want about? I could be running a team. It's true. You know, all of those points that we said about the things that require zero talent, anyone can do those things. And I stand there and I tell them, and they go like, wow, okay. You know, so I think there's a lot of information there, but I think there's a lot of stuff that I've sort of accumulated over time. Enthusiasm, my big one tip, right, for anyone going for a job is enthusiasm will trump most things. Yeah. If you're passionate and enthusiastic, prior experience, you know, what you did in your exams, all of this rubbish, people don't give a fuck, man. You know, if you've got that glint in your eye about what you do and you can get that across to the customer and, you know, you're willing to work hard and go the extra mile because all that will be driven from your enthusiasm, then I think, you know, I read an article by Karen Brady that I put in our interview prep that we send out, and she said enthusiasm trumps everything. And she said she will often take people who've not got, on paper, don't look as good because they were more enthusiastic at interview.
Yeah, so I think they're the most important points is enthusiasm and finding somewhere where the culture fits what you truly believe in. That's
definitely. Because there's such diversity among places, isn't there?
Yeah,
100%. There's no point being a square peg trying to get into a round hole.
No.
Obviously, the enthusiasm comes when you get the interview, but getting the interview might not always be that easy. Is the CV still important? Or?
It is, yeah. You can't have a mistake. I mean, I don't get how anyone can have a mistake on a CV with spell checking now. Really, but get someone else to read it as well. You know, the old classic of it should really be 2 pages. People don't want it loads. 100% bullet point your CV, 100%. And have some deliverables on there. So when I'm reading the CV of someone who's worked in Birmingham, I know how much Bank turns over a week. I know how many covers it does, and I know all of that. But actually, someone reading it might not. So if you were a head waiter in Bank, you know, managed a section of 2 commie waiters, you know, of 120 covers on a busy Saturday night. Bullet point. Rather than just telling me like, oh, I was a waiter. Like, what did you achieve? You know, if you're a manager, what GP were you getting? You know, what was the turnover? What profit did you deliver? Those kinds of things. So I like to see deliverables, I suppose, on a CV for someone of the right kind of level, someone who's been a manager or what have you. But yeah, nice personal statement. You know, employment history, reverse chronological order. And there's no right or wrong answer, really. You might speak to someone else who says, you know, don't do a personal statement at the top. I like a little section on the bottom of a CV that says a little bit about me. I read a woman's when I very first got into recruitment, maybe 6 months in, and it was she entitled it A Little Bit About Me, and it really, it wasn't just like, I go to the cinema and I walk my dog and I hang out with my friends, because like, of course we all fucking love walking the dog and going to the flicks. It was different. It was, you know, I love going on holiday and starting a book and reading it on the beach and feeling the sand beneath my toes while I then like finish the book by the end of the holiday. And I love seafood. It was warm, you know. And actually, I say to people again, some people would hate that. Some people would think, Conrad, oh no, that's a load of bullshit. But all of the other stuff makes me go, I want to employ you, I want to employ you, I want to employ you. That last bit goes, oh, I can't wait to have a beer with you at the end of the night. And in hospitality, that's important as well as the employable bit. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So, again, no right or wrong answer, but you definitely don't want any bloody mistakes on there, really. Again, I don't edit CVs. So if a chef's CV comes to me with mistakes on, it goes with mistakes on. And I had one client once, only one, say, it's got spelling mistakes on. And I went, I know. Do you want me to write you a fucking book or cook you a dinner? Do you know what I mean? Like, because does it matter how this guy spells? He might be dyslexic. I don't give a flying fuck what he is. You know, one of the best chefs we've got in the city, I believe, is dyslexic, but he's fucking brilliant. So, like, what's that matter? His leadership's bob on. He's a bloody nice bloke. He can cook. He can't spell. I've got better things to do than just change his CV. A lot of recruiters would change that CV. You know, they would change it. I think, what a load of bullshit. You know, I'm shit at spelling. It's just the computer tells me I've spelled it wrong.
That's how I roll.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. So yeah, I think that's CVs really.
I've gone through my notes. We've pretty much done everything. We could chat a little bit about the food in Birmingham if you like.
Yeah, that's my favourite.
Finish on a lighter note. We've got the important stuff out the way.
Yeah, I think this is the important bit. Well, look, I mean,
you told us. Well, you and especially Joe kept saying, you haven't been to Tropea?
Yeah.
No, I haven't been to Tropea yet, Joe.
Yeah.
And then I went there and I thought, why the fuck haven't I been here?
I know,
It took so long. Fucking hell.
I mean, I've always had a massive bugbear with Italian. You know, for me, I love Italian food. I'll always ask chefs, tell me about your favourite cuisine, you know, we'll talk about it. And there's nothing wrong with the guy who likes the sauce, you know, French, 3 days to get to a dish. There's nothing wrong with the mozzarella, the tomato and the basil and the olive oil. 4 ingredients that, whoa, it's just bob on in it. I just think, why have we not had a good Italian? You know, people used to like rave about San Carlo, and I've got a mate who goes, and I always take the piss out of him because he bloody loves it. I mean, you know, look, if that's your thing, fine. But that it's, you know, if you go that
Laggies. I do like.
I love Laggies. Yeah, I love Laggies. Yeah, I love Laggies,
Awesome.
and I really like what they're doing at Trentina now. I think that the pasta's as good as anywhere that we've got. But like before they opened, we had nowhere making fresh pasta in the whole city. Nowhere making fresh, other than Jamie's Italian. Yeah. You know, it's desperate. So I think they've done a great job. You know, again, we spoke earlier on about alumni of UCB, and Ben and Kasha have both come through UCB, and it's fantastic to see. You know, I mean, they wouldn't think of themselves as young people, but to me, that, you know, they're 2 young people who've set up a phenomenal restaurant there. That it just goes from strength to strength. Don't go though, because I can't ever get in anymore.
I know, it's
okay, so it used to be that my partner and I could just walk up. It's the closest restaurant to our house as the crow flies, and we could just walk up and they'd squeeze us in. You know, there's a window seat or whatever, but don't go. It's terrible.
I mean, I'm about to get the violin there, but the amount of times I look on Facebook and Instagram and you've eaten out somewhere again, I was like.
Yeah, my mate. A lot of some people
do you have
do
a kitchen? No?
We have a kitchen, and I use it pretty well. Yeah, I mean, as I said to you at the start, you know, I love to eat out. You know, Joe and I, we love eating out. I think, you know, I love to support the industry as well. But yeah, just, you know, it's a lovely thing to do, is to just go and kind of sit and eat, and I suppose because of what I do put the Instagram post up whenever I go somewhere. So to some people, it'd be like, you know, you eat out a lot. I mean, there were 2 places I didn't go to this weekend. The rabbit pop up at
Ravine Rabbit.
Yeah. I mean, everyone is raving about it, and I would have loved to have gone to that. It looked phenomenal, but you kind of can't do everything.
Well, that's what we said. We got this restaurant. can't just go to every restaurant all the time. We
no.
just couldn't afford to do it.
No one could afford it. Exactly. No one could afford it. We're very lucky as well that Joe's son, he quite getting into eating out. We took him a few restaurants when we were down in London. We took him to Cole, which was absolutely fantastic. We took him to Zabor, which he really loved, and they really made a fuss of him. And we took him to Brat as well, and Brat's his favourite. But he loves going up to like Trentina, Tropea. He likes a little Dishoom. And like for a 9-year-old, he'll sit and have a chat. And we look at Joe's like talking about him and I wonder what he's like at school, what would he get in it? And I was like, do you know what? The most important, he's a 9-year-old who can sit there and converse around a table. There aren't many of them. No. And actually for like his development, I took him to the Ivy. I think we were doing a bit of Christmas shopping. And they said to him, do you want the kids menu? And he went like that. No, thank you. And he'll go to someone's house and they'll give him beige food and he just eats what we have, and he'll do a bit of cooking with me, and I think that passion sort of get into him by a bit of osmosis. If people haven't been to Tropea, they got to go and try Tropea definitely. And Trentina, I think their pasta's as good. I think that's bloody good value, and that doesn't seem to be full all the time for me, which is a shame. Those boys have done a really good job at bringing some cracking little businesses into the city with Tiger Bites Pig and Tierra Tacos and stuff.
The church as well. I went to church for Sunday dinner a few weeks ago. It was
good.
Wicked,
Yeah. I like the menu there. It's really cool, man. We like to go for we love spicy food, so Szechuan. Like there's a place called Chili Kitchen, which is blow your socks off. And there's a tasty Szechuan down in Chinatown, and I love Chongqing. Like since we've got to know the guys at Chongqing, and
Will is hilarious, isn't it?
Say again.
Will.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Will and James are hilarious. We were at some awards, the Golden Chopsticks Awards, and they that's when they won Best Dim Sum and stuff. And now we're going absolutely bananas. Yeah. But again, when you go in there, and people can obviously have whatever they want, but you see a lot of like Anglo Chinese stuff being ordered, and if you scratch the surface of the stuff on that menu, it's really, really traditional. And like whenever I'm with James, I'm like, right, he's like, you're the only person who wants this. I'm like, well, more people should want it. More people should know about it.
Yeah.
So I know you had Tom on your show, Tom Cullen. And I think like maybe you guys and him, we could come together with James and do like a night at Chongqing, but a discovery of China kind of night where people have the jellyfish chicken cold dish and the like.
Well, I'm mad for trying
veal.
Chicken feet at the moment because I've heard they're phenomenal.
Oh, we tried them last time we went. It was faff.
Yeah,
it was faff.
Yeah, I've heard this.
Right. And each little piece of the bird's foot is a little ligament almost. It was tasty. Would I have it again? No. Was it awful? No.
No, they're a bit of a miss.
The taste of Szechuan, the pig's brain at Taste of Szechuan, you need to come and try with me.
Yeah.
That is next level. Seriously. Like, delicious. Yeah. Like sweetbread. Oh, yeah, nice. Beautiful, man. Absolutely beautiful. We're lucky, aren't we, with the Indian offerings that we've got?
Oh, it's ridiculous.
Like Ashes, obviously, for me, is like...
Well, I was at Rajamonkey on Saturday, and that's just my absolute favourite. It's phenomenal.
It's
so
lovely.
Good.
Yeah, it is very good. Very good. Viceroy as well. I'm a big fan of in the Jewellery Quarter. That's very good. O'Feem, we haven't even touched on fine dining. O'Feem, obviously, is just superb.
And the Desi pubs as well. Wicked Desi pubs.
Yeah.
We probably eat more Desi pubs than we eat out anywhere else now.
Where's your favourite?
Soho Tavern up the road.
Soho Tavern's probably our favourite. We're big fans of the Covered Wagon.
Okay.
Covered Wagons.
I've always, I know people rave about it. I've been a few times and I wasn't so much. Copper Fox, you tried the Copper Fox?
No.
That's quite nice. That's just biased.
Yeah.
Everyone
talks about the Red Lion, that now West Brom. We need to get over there.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. I must admit, I think Soho Tavern probably up there. And what's the one that they own the other business just in the Jewellery Quarter? And you've got the one over the road by Arts 13, didn't you? Yeah, Hen and Chickens.
This is good.
And then
Cake and Grill's good.
Cake and Grill's good. We've got loads.
We have a whole podcast just over
We have got loads, didn't we?
Pubs,
Yeah, definitely. And we were talking about 670 before we came on air. Carter's. I mean, Carter's. I've been very lucky to go to Carter's a few times in recent times, and he just keeps getting better and better. And I think that to me, it looks like maybe them or Opheme might get that second star. I think it'd be good for the city now to see that coming. We've had a lot. I mean, more restaurants deserve a star, don't they? You've got to be honest.
Of course they do. Yeah, there's loads.
Cheel's has been cooking at that level for years.
Harborne Kitchen.
Harborne Kitchen has been cooking at that level. Wilderness has been cooking at that level.
Yeah, 670, some phenomenal.
670, no doubt. Right, but they know that if they were to give them all out, it'd be like, whoa, look how many Birmingham we've got now.
Yeah.
I feel a little bit for Liam. Again, not that Tom Shepherd upstairs doesn't deserve a star, because it does. It's incredible. But I think Liam's been cooking at the level of a star for a while over there at the boat. And I don't know whether they'll look at that and go, Lichfield's only a little place. Can we give another one out, quite so soon? But Tom's is as good as that's upstairs by Tom Shepherd. Have you been there?
We haven't been yet.
Table, can
no.
you?
We've tried to go a couple of times and haven't been able to.
Have you had him on the podcast?
No.
Oh, he'd be good. He'd be good. He comes across very well. And get him on the podcast, get a table.
Yeah, that's what we did with Docket.
That's what we've done with a few people. We get them on. We eat the lunch there. We did it with Docket when we did Stu Collins.
How was that? Was it nice lunch?
Phenomenal.
Docket's
incredible.
Stuff, man.
Really, Docket Theatre, incredible restaurant.
Yeah. I think he's going to move or something. The
landlord's
fell through. He was getting a bigger place, but it's fell through. So he's staying where he is now for the meantime.
He comes across really well. We spoke about a few places that are out and about, just sort of out of the city centre as well. Eat Vietnam, upstairs by Grace and James, Polly. Eat Vietnam.
You've been early bird.
Oh yeah.
Had the Eat Vietnam special with early bird.
Oh, naughty!
Just ridiculous.
It was Benedict's, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Do you remember Bloom? Bloom was a sad loss.
Bloom was great.
That was a sad loss.
Yeah, I
really
love brunch. Breakfast, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
There was phenomenal.
Yeah, it was wicked. I mean, it's
like nothing you've ever had before.
There was no
dishes.
brunch items. It was just crazy good food.
It
worked as well.
It did.
Duck hash.
I remember the way he'd done
Kedegary.
Kedegary. The duck hash was absolutely superb. It was a real shame, and a fantastic coffee as well. Coffee of the gods.
You're still doing coffee, at Grace and James.
Right, yeah. It's Ali in it. Yeah. And I love the fact that we've got, we mentioned Andy, Low and Slow. Lap, whenever Lap does a pop-up, it's unbelievable. I mean, he phoned me a good few years ago now. He said, do you want to come round for dinner? I'm cleaning out the freezer. I was like, am I going for dinner and to help him clean the fucking freezer out or what? And I never quite knew how good he was. We've got to be talking 10 years ago now. We'd sort of known each other from round and about. And I've walked in his kitchen and he's got a fucking water bath on the go, the cunt. And he's got fucking, I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ, mate. And so he did a jungle curry and he did this, that, and honestly, it was all stuff that would just been like left in his freezer that he'd got pull bits and bobs out. It was next level. And whenever I've been to pop-ups of his in recent times, whenever he does a pop-up, I try and go.
Yeah.
Because I think... taste-wise, I'm a big fan of, Vietnamese and Thai. I think those flavour profiles, don't get me wrong, I love, I love a dirty American burger and fries right through to, I'll have anything as long as it's done well with a bit of passion. But I think Thai, just it's a different bit of your mouth, doesn't it?
Yeah,
it's like the Szechuan, not saying about the Szechuan, these flavours, it just gives a different kind of mouthfeel.
Where are you going for Thai in Birmingham?
I don't know. I mean, his pop-ups are probably the best, I would say.
Barton
Arms I like.
Barton Arms, not
I've heard a few people.
Barton Arms is good. I go quite often before the games. It's just down the road from the Villa. Zabai, yeah, it's good. I mean, I know Talks and the guys that own it. I mean, it the one in Arborne. You're spending a few quid. But it is a restaurant in Arborne. It's very lovely.
One in Solihull, ain't we? So
yeah.
Down the road.
Don't get me wrong. There's some lovely things on the menu. There's a lot of other places you can go for the amount of money you're spending in there, which sometimes, if I'm going to the Barton Arms, it could be half the price. You know what I mean?
We could do with more Thai, I think, there. I mean, obviously, we've got Buddha Belly opening Sturge.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah, I love Buddha Belly.
Malaysian for me. Have you been the one down the road from here?
Which one, sorry?
What's the name of it
Coppertan, is it?
Coppertiam?
Oh, no, what? No.
Can't ever remember the name.
Round the corner, the little calf.
Yeah. Now, their
good.
beef rendang is unbelievable.
Man. Do you know what? I'm going to need to get some food after this. If it's either that or fish and chips. Do you normally do it at this time of night? because I was thinking, do I have a bit of dinner beforehand? And now all we've done is talk about food for like 2 hours.
We do always do it, and then
That's what we always do, yeah, man. Pau
normally
Gadala
goes
Mexicana as well.
Yeah, really, really good, man.
What a place.
Yeah, really good. Yakuchi, fantastic place.
Nicest people ever as well.
Lovely
James.
couple.
Oh.
Yeah. Really lovely couple. Did we say Polly when we spoke about
Yeah,
Grace
Polly
James?
came up, that was
Blow
unreal.
water.
Bonehead.
Bonehead.
My all-time greatest restaurant of all time for me. I love the place.
Oh, I love it.
Everything.
I love it. I think they're going to open another, aren't they?
Top
They
secret,
had
isn't
some
it?
stuff, yeah.
I don't think it's any secret that they want to.
Mm.
And I think it's not a million miles away in time anyway. But it'd be nice to have another one. I mean, fried chicken. Here, I've got a question for you boys that I always ask foodies. I was at an event the other night where there was only 6 people, and I always ask this question. So you've got to get rid of one animal: cow, chicken, pig, or lamb. You can't eat. One's got to go.
I think that's fucking well easy. Oh, actually, hang on.
Okay, go on.
not
No,
easy.
go on, because other people have said that.
I was going to say chicken, but then thinking
Fried
about
chicken.
fried chicken.
Fried
yeah.
chicken.
Yeah.
However, have you had the fried quail?
Okay.
Fried quail.
I can see what you're
KFC.
saying here. Yeah.
Or, but do you know what? Probably beef,
Okay. It's a
Probably beef.
Yeah.
It's the one thing I'll just never order is beef because I think it's
Yeah.
boring.
Yeah.
And I can cook it well at home.
Yeah.
Whereas
There's
lads-
I think I'd
there's
probably
no
go along
right
with
or
this.
wrong answer here. It's just your own
And I
personal
love
preference.
burgers, though, man. Nice
Oh,
beef
yeah,
burger.
Yeah,
Pork, though.
nice beef burger. But I mean, for me, I love steak tartare and like carpaccio
Yeah, that's
beef and
another
like
one.
lovely like rare kind of steak. But again,
I could do without it though. What,
Yeah.
what did you say? What could you get rid of?
I go lamb, but
Oh, I do love lamb.
no
lamb
lamb
shank.
curry. I couldn't. Right, so two stay for me straight off. The first keeper is pig.
Yeah.
No one's getting rid of bacon,
there's so
sausage,
much stuff.
chorizo,
Pork
belly
belly.
draft. You know what I
Black
mean?
pudding. the
Easy.
works, man.
Yeah. So then after that, I'm keeping chicken for fried chicken. Because for me,
Solely for fried chicken, man.
chicken is life, man. Yeah, solely for
Solely-
bonehead
solely for fried chicken.
and chicken sours when I'm in London, but don't tell Sham.
I think bonehead's better than chicken sours.
I think since post-pandemic,
Yeah.
I think
went down to
post-pandemic,
London and I went there and I thought,
they stepped it up a notch. They changed the recipe and the brining and stuff. I had a chef go in there who'd worked at I think it's somewhere called Mother Clocker in Leeds, and so he'd done some big volume fried chicken before, and he was like, "Fucking hell, them boys have got it down to a science, man." And like he said, the way that they're producing was sort of next
Oh, it's
level.
never been better than it is now. And it was always good.
It was always good. Yeah, totally.
It's a tough
Awesome.
one, man. Do you rest some of these?
yeah, so Carl has some questions. I don't know if you listen, but it's just a good, nice, light-hearted way to
Yeah, super
finish the
easy.
podcast.
Yeah.
It's never easy. You always say
Never
it's never easy.
They're easy. We did it. We did it in the car. We answered
There was no
everyone.
right or wrong answer, is there?
They're just personal questions, do you?
Okay.
What's your favourite movie?
One movie of all time, Rocky. If I get all of them, I love.
You got a picture up over there.
Yeah, I
Sit
grew up
behind
on
you.
the Rocky movies, but I mean, I bloody love like Seven, and I love all the Star Wars.
If you had to pick one Rocky, like gun to your head, which Rocky is it then?
Well, for me, probably the first one because it's the love story. It's the ultimate underdog story. But don't get me wrong, I love the Russian. I love it when he
Yeah,
goes.
What
Rocky
about Mr.
Four,
T?
man.
Yeah, no,
Mr.
I love
T.
Mr. T as well. 3 and 4 are amazing.
When Mick dies, you telling me you didn't cry when Mick died?
I did cry when Mick dies, yeah. I cry every time he runs up the steps. It means a lot to me and a lot to my family. But if you asked me on another day, I could say something else. I mean, I rewatched Forrest Gump with Joe the other, and
good,
I
isn't it?
love,
It's such a good
I
film.
love that movie, and I absolutely adore the soundtrack to it. I mean, movies. You know, if you did a movie podcast, you'd have me talking probably for longer on movies because I just adore films. I think it's such a fantastic bit of escapism for, hour and a half to 3 hours. I love going to the cinema. Triple cheese on my nachos. Yes.
Yeah. Loads of jalapenos.
Loads.
If they're giving you back, you're like, no, I said
Yeah.
loads.
I want more.
I want an equal amount of jalapenos to Chris.
Fiddy.
What's your favourite TV show?
I used to love 24. I don't watch a lot of TV really anymore.
Yeah.
I'd probably say Match of the Day when the Villa have won, not if they've lost.
So you don't watch Match of the Day a lot then?
Yeah, not as much as I'd like. I watch it, but I don't enjoy it. Anything cooking, I love. Really, I love watching anything that's cooking. You know, and of that, I love that Somebody Feed Phil. I love his programs.
Yeah, we
I used to love
watch that.
anything by Bourdain as well.
Yeah, Liam's a big Bourdain fan.
Massive, mate. Yeah, love the books.
What's your favourite band or artist?
Muse, Royal Blood, Foo Fighters, maybe.
Good
but
choices.
again, I listen to anything from like, you know, like I love Tracy Chapman. I love classical piano, Ludovico Einaudi. And I like really loud metal and hard dance music from my 20s that makes me feel like,
Well,
did I ever listen to this?
I can't wait for Goldie at Jazz Festival, and I'm buzzing to see Goldie live.
Yeah,
Proper
Goldie,
set.
brilliant.
Bit of
So
jungle.
again, if you ask me tomorrow, I might have a different answer. But
That's the beauty of these questions.
yeah, definitely. I like it.
What's your favourite big fast food chain?
I mean, favourite for eating the food. I don't know about their welfare. I don't know about the welfare of any of them. But KFC, I love a dirty KFC, man.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it?
I do love a dirty
Hungover,
KFC.
it's great as well.
I had one just yesterday. Yeah. I just think the gravy is awesome. If you catch a good one, it's good. I mean, if you catch a good McD's, if it's fresh. Brad Carter told me a secret the other day. The fillet of fish is the only thing they make fresh every time. So I need to get myself in and have a fillet of fish because that's what he has every time.
That's what Leo. I'm sure Leo said the same thing.
Same thing, yeah. A
you
couple
go.
of top chefs now saying the
There you
same
go.
thing. And I used to take the piss out of the missus when she used to get that as a kid.
I didn't think
Yeah.
anyone ordered the fillet of fish.
no,
I thought Brad was taking the piss.
What's your favourite beer?
Batham's real ale. Yeah,
nice,
Black
isn't it?
Country real ale. Yeah, it's smooth as anything. I also like Timothy Taylor real ale.
So you're into the more real ale side of it.
Yeah, hand pull real ale for me. I mean, you've seen me out loads. I'll drink anything, you know that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that for me, like, there's a lot more going on with that. You know what I mean? Than there is even in a good quality lager, really.
Yeah. What's your specialty? You say you do the cooking. What's your favourite dish that you cook at home?
Anything, to be fair, I love cooking. A tray bake, I just like a nice tray bake's good, something thrown together. But like, I mean, sometimes I'll say to Jo, like, what do you want? And she can just have anything she wants. She'd never had skate wing before I cooked it for her. So I just like, you know, pan fry the skate wing with a nice just beurre noisette or a caper beurre noisette or something. I think skate's just so underrated. Just some nice little butter, new potatoes. And
Doesn't need
I
much,
love it.
does it?
I think it's an incredible fish. It's a super fishy fish. Get a nice, like, buttery Chardonnay, an oak Chardonnay with that, and that's all you need really, is maybe a bit of dressed rocket and the fish and that. So I don't really have like a go-to dish. It'll be great if like I see something like at the butcher's and it's new or different, or Milo goes, what's that bird? And I'm like, that's a pheasant, and then I'll cook that, and like I take my time with it. And yeah, I mean, I'm no amazing cook, but like people have a nice time when they come over for dinner because like I put a bit of love into it.
That's
And
it. It's caring, ain't it?
I just adore the cooking. I'll put some tunes on, put my earpods in, and away I go, or a podcast. You
I'm
know,
the same.
so-
I just bang the Slipknot album on, or
Yeah.
Metallica album. That's it. I'll just
Yeah.
go for it.
yeah, definitely. So yeah, we'll stick with my skate.
Other than Birmingham, what's your favourite food destination in the world?
I suppose Barcelona, but
Yeah,
I've spent
it's
a
a
lot
good
of
shout.
time there, and there's a lot of places I haven't been. Thailand, I loved as well. You know, I'd never been to Thailand until a few years back, and I absolutely loved it. I'm very well travelled in Europe, not wider really. I'm someone who, if loads of people are doing it, I don't want to do it. So like everyone started getting tattoos, so I was like, fuck, I'm not getting a tattoo now. Everyone all of my mates were like, right, we go Thailand then Australia. Yeah, we go Thailand then Australia. We're gonna have a year out Thailand, Australia. So I was like, fuck that, I'm not doing that. You know what I mean? Like, I wanted to be different. So very well travelled in Europe, really. I mean, London, I do love slipping down to London.
There's a lot there now.
Jesus, it's as good as anywhere
More
in
than
the
I
world.
could ever eat there. My
Yeah.
list of restaurants in London on my phone is so.
And it gets longer.
Yeah.
You know, I follow Clerkenwell Boy, and I know him, and Adam Hyman from Code Hospitality and the Good Food Guide, and like you see these boys, and they're like, fuck, like you say, another one on the list, you know. And there's something wonderful about going back somewhere, isn't there? Really lovely. There's like a homely feel of a return. And, you know, I've been to Brat like 5 times. I can't get enough of it. But then you go, it's the money and the time that you could be somewhere else trying something new as well. And there's a real trade-off there because there's a beautiful familiarity of like, I know it here. I like it here.
Yeah,
I have the turbot and da-da-da. But then you're missing out on trying something new as well.
It's
You
a
know,
tough balance, isn't it?
it is a tough balance because returning somewhere gives you different endorphins than the new experience, I think. But the new experience gives you different as well. And you know you're not going to be let down. Like I went to Leroy and Shoreditch, Manteca, all within a mile of Brat. And I want to go back to them all. And I want fish and chips.
That's it. Beautiful stuff.
Wicked.
Cool. That's
Thank you
us.
very much, mate.
I've really enjoyed it, boys.
Yeah,
Lovely.
great to talk about food. Loads of wicked tips and stuff. So it's been awesome. Thanks for coming on.
Nice one. Thanks a lot.